It's time for the Leadership Lunch Break with Joy Jackson of Speaking of Joy. Let's tune in for today's discussion.
Good afternoon. I'm Joy Jackson of Speaking of Joy, and I'm so glad you joined me today for the Leadership Lunch Break. I am so excited to share all of the ideas and leadership tips that I have identified or have experienced throughout my leadership career. And I'm glad that you continue to join me. And if this is your first time, welcome to the Leadership Lunch Break. I'll tell you how it works. I find places all over my house just to share leadership principles with you. And I invite you, if they help you, I invite you to share them. I invite you to comment, and I invite you to just post them or repost them, because my goal is to help us all become better leaders. Now, I'll remind you that I don't define leadership by position or title. So if you're looking for that kind of strategy, I won't really give that to you. I'm more about influence and responsibility. And the truth of the matter is, all of us are leaders in some form or fashion. Whether you're the leader of a community, or you're the leader of an organization, or you're the leader of an actual family, that's all leadership, and all of us have the power to lead. And so, we've been talking about this journey, the lessons that I learned while leading. And yes, last time we talked about leading with intelligence, because leadership takes intelligence. Well, today we're going to continue about the lessons that I learned. And this lesson is about leadership takes intention. Now, there are times in our lives where we just do things haphazardly. I mean, for me, it's working out. I got a bike for Christmas. I'm excited about it. But do I really want to get on the bike and start riding? Absolutely not. So I'm not really intentional yet about my working out. And unfortunately for many of us, things have to happen for us to become intentional. Most of us are intentional about our relationships. Most of us are intentional about our work or our careers or our dreams. So there is intentionality in a lot of what we do. But as a leader, you must be intentional. That means that as a leader, you have to make sure that you are doing the things necessary to lead your team. Intentionality is about a mental state. It's a commitment to carrying out certain actions or tasks. So good leaders, great leaders are people who are intentional. They're intentional about their development. They're intentional about their employees' development or their family's development. They're intentional about how they interact. They're intentional about understanding. They're intentional about emotional intelligence and encouraging others. If you're going to be a leader, you have to be intentional. And I challenge you to find those things that you will be intentional about. Now, let's be clear. We all won't get it 100% right all of the time. And I'm giving you permission to acknowledge that and to be okay with that. But I invite you and encourage you to find those areas that you want to be intentional. So if you want to be a better leader, a better community person, a better mother, a better wife, a better husband, if you want to do those things, you've got to put forth the intentional effort. So today, I want you to think of one thing that you can do as a leader and be intentional about it. That means decide in your mind, commit to it, and then act it out. Because the more that you're intentional, the better you are as a leader. I invite you to come and join me next week. We're going to do the same thing, talking about lessons that I learned. And I invite you to follow me on all social media platforms at Speaking of Joy, and that's JOYE. Or you can go to my website for this and other leadership tips. Until we meet again, have a good one.
Thank you for joining the Leadership Lunch Break. Join us next Thursday at noon Central Standard Time for lunch as we continue our discussions. Follow Speaking of Joy on all social media platforms or visit our website at www.speakingofjoy.com. That's www.speakingofjoye.com. Until next week.